Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more Legacy action. It's come to the end of the year, so this is my last reach into the December sack of wonderfulness for this year. At the request of a donor, we are playing this really interesting lands build. I believe Ali, who's a bit of a lands expert, played to a 5-0 in a league. So for those who are unfamiliar with land stuff, we've got a bunch of lands that do cool things, and we have exploration to power them out, life from loam to reuse them, crop rotation to find them. Now the exciting lands we have are things like Wasteland to mess with our opponent's lands and then keep recurring them with Loam to lock our opponents out. We have Maze of Ith to protect ourselves from creatures, Karakas to bounce legendary stuff, Tabernacle to stop decks that are going wide. We got Graveyard Hate and Bojuka Bog, Boseiju, which we can keep recurring with life from Loam to blow up problem permanents, Otawara to bounce anything that we need to, and then the main hit of the whole fruit here, 3 Dark Depths, 3 Thespian Stage. This is one of our main win conditions. We make a 2020 and our opponent dies to it. We do have 4 Urza Saga as our other win condition, which comes along with Lavaspur Boots, Pithing Needle, and a Soul Guide Lantern, as well as this expedition map and of course the 4 Mox Diamonds that allow us to accelerate out early on. Now where this deck differs is these cards. We are running 4 Brainstorm and 2 Lightning Bolt. So Brainstorm is going to be instead of our sort of Malevolent Rumble type cards. We can dig into our deck a little bit and try and find what we're looking for. We've got a little bit of shuffling off of like Misty Rainforest and Crop Rotation and Urza Saga to try and make use of that. Then we have a couple of Lightning Bolts to deal with little creatures. When we go and look at the sideboard, we can see some more of where we're planning for these colours. So we've got a couple of Pyroblasts, which is a reason why we're running red. This is going to be really useful against a show and tell matchup, alongside these Spell Pierces, which is why we're running blue, so we can have a little bit more action against those sorts of matchups and some other combo decks that go underneath us. We've got Graveyard Hate in Surgical Extraction, Artifact and Shaman Hate in Force of Vigor, Explosives and Disruptor Flute a little bit more flexible in what they hit, but generally the Disruptor Flute is there for combo decks and the Engine Explosives is for the fairer decks. There's a Gemstone Caverns in the sideboard and a Gemstone Caverns in the main. If you're unfamiliar with this card, if it's in your opening hand and you're not the starting player, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield with a luck counter on if you do exile a card from your hand. So we lose a card from our hand to get this. It's kind of like another Mox Diamond. That's pretty much it for this deck. I'm excited to see how it works out. I do like playing land strategies a lot. I used to play lands way back in the day before we even had Thespian Stage and Dark Depths wasn't even in the deck. So there's a lot to like about these sorts of strategies, and hopefully we can have a good one to close out December. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me this year, and make sure you join me next year by subscribing. Right, let's get stuck in. Have you got magic cards you don't want taking up space in your home, or do you just need some extra spending money? Well, my lovely sponsors 3for1 Trading are buying all collections, big and small. They are one of Europe's biggest traders and have a transparent process to sell them cards and make sure you're getting a good deal. Click the link in the description of this video to get an offer on your cards today. We're on the play for our first game. What does this hand do? So we have Depths, 2 mana, potentially 3 mana. So we can do a Dark Depths line with this hand, but we're kind of all in on this. I'd rather have a more durable piece like as a Saga. We can always go and get that with Crop Rotation anyway. So then we're going to keep this and see how it pans out. I think I'm just going to play out the Taiga for now. We don't need to commit a Mox Diamond or anything just yet. Just hold up for Bojuka Bog in case our opponent's playing useful spells. A Brainstorm like this. That is a very unusual use of a Brainstorm. That suggests to me that our opponent wants to spend all their mana on turn 2. So possibly some kind of combo deck or a like reanimated deck where they have a Surveil land in hand, so they can just mill over one of the monsters they put back on top now, if they do it this way, and then be able to reanimate it. That is an unusual line. A Brainstorm of our very own. I think I'm going to play out this Mox Diamond. I'm going to bin off this Maze of Ith. I'm going to play out this Dark Depths, and we're going to pass. We can Brainstorm if we want to, or we can Crop Rotate for Bojuka Bog. If we Crop Rotate, we probably have to lose the Dark Depths here. Prismatic Vista. Okay. Less sure what's going on now. Save a Brainstorm for when they crack this Prismatic Vista. I guess we could Brainstorm now because we can Lightning Bolt the Orcish Bowmasters. No, we're just going to hold for now. If we get a nice window, we can try and go for a combo. But our opponent's going to have a bunch of mana up. And Orcish Bowmasters. I would like to Brainstorm in response. Love the life from the Loam here. I don't think we want double Crop Rotation. Although Crop Rotation plus life from the Loam kind of negates the downside of that. I think we'll put back these 2 lands. We'll let them get the Bowmasters, then we can decide what we're doing about it in a second. There might be a better target for our Lightning Bolt, like a Katara or something that maybe draws them a bunch of cards. I think our opponent might be on Reanimator though. Just because that turn 1 Brainstorm, well, the Prismatic Vistas are very strange. We're doing that. Okay. They don't have the mana for Kaito, which is great for us. Oh, it's a Yuriko. Okay, so now I can just kill this Yuriko. They might well, yeah, I thought they might well counterspell here because it doesn't matter too much to them. I think I'm going to... The counterspells aren't going to be that useful. All right, I'm going to try and get rid of this Dark Depths and get a Maze of Ith or a Karakas here. Where is the Karakas? No extra cards for you, opponent. Should have just let my lightning bolt work, opponent. Brainstorm. So they could have set... No, they couldn't have set something up here because they had a Prismatic Vista between the Brainstorm and the attack. Nobody's really playing these ninja decks with like Emeralds in just to really get people with the flips. But it is a thing you're allowed to do, and you know, some people will do, I guess, play that, but you just never really see it. It's more of a meme thing that us content creators do than what actual ninja players are up to. So now we get a fresh card off the top. It's a Wasteland. We'll curtail our opponent's mana in this game. I don't really want to have to deal with Kaito. Let's get back our 3 lands. Alright. So we're in the lands game now. Our deck should be pretty good against a tempo deck that doesn't have reach. The tempo decks that have things like Price of Progress can sometimes just get over the finish line against us, but generally speaking, these blue-black sort of builds might not. They do have a lot of basics, though. And that does explain the Prismatic Vista. I probably should have caught that this was going to be ninjas when I saw the Vista. Is this going to be a Kaito? Is there a way that we can disrupt a Kaito right now? I don't think there is. It is the Kaito. This is a legendary creature, but it has hexproof. So unfortunately we don't get to do anything about that one. I should have cast this crop rotation in response to the Surveil. We didn't need to give our opponent extra looks. They milled over both cards. They didn't want a Force of Will here. Let's try and get an Urza Saga running. Ninja decks tend not to run Wasteland these days. Obviously they still can run them, but just as a general rule, that's not what they're doing. I don't really need to Life from the Loam here. I'll take a regular draw. Oh wow, that's an interesting one. So we can play out this Wasteland. Let's go for casting the boots. See if this resolves. Play out the Wasteland. Make a friend. Drawing that boots was great. We get to kill the Kaito now, right? 1, 2, 3, and the extra point of power off of the boots. What a great turn that was for us. Once it's equipped, we don't have to worry about snuff out either, so we just get to take out the Kaito and move on with life. Nothing from our opponent there. I think I will dredge the Loam this time though, because that gives us access to the Urza Saga again, which is probably going to be our main win condition, I would imagine. Let's make another friend. What do I want here? Probably just... How many lands do I have to buy back? I do have enough to buy back. Do I just want to get Expedition Map? It's another nice little tutor effect going. Our opponent can interact with this with a Daze, and then we won't have the mana to equip this Construct token. Force of Negation is a very, very good find there. Okay, I'll play out this Dark Depths. Doesn't tap for mana, but none of the lands in our hand do. Let's crack for 7, and then next turn we can crack for a decent chunk. Is this going to be a chump blocker, perhaps? If they don't chump block, it means they have a Kaito. Can't really do much about that. But we are threatening Hasty Merit Lage, and it will live through a Shoulder's Edict if that's the opponent, if that's the removal our opponent has. Because we have a bunch of tokens that we can sack instead. So next time we go 2 mana, gets this, then we play it and activate it. What is this? Flare of Malice. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value. This is interesting. Am I playing around Kaito? I think I am. So I'm going to sacrifice this and play around Kaito. They can just hardcast the Kaito. So maybe we're supposed to force the damage through here. But we are the control deck, I think, in this matchup. We do have combo buttons we can press. Alright, so it doesn't matter if they draw the Kaito now, because they can always get it through. But we at least get to block this 2-2. And we are pretty close to threatening a hasty guy. We have a Mire off the top. Wasteland. So they are running a list with Wastelands in. Good to know. We have full information of what our opponent's got over there. I think about Wastelanding to play around any potential crop rotation, but I think if they were doing that, they should have done it earlier. Sure, you can take out the depths. So now we go get another Urza Saga. Get this working for us. Do I want to attack here? I can prevent them dealing damage to us. I think we just hold because we are massively ahead. We just need to not mess it up and let our opponent get in a few cheap shots and then finish us with a Murktide or something. Now, the Maze of Ith should help that, but we've already seen that they have access to Wastelands in the deck. A land is very much not what they want to draw here. Thespian Stage. Big fan of this one. So this becomes a copy of this. I don't think we need to attack this turn. We can just hold for another turn. And then we have 2 blockers. And then next turn we can just send in with a bunch of guys. Alright, they've had enough. The writing is on the wall. Our deck is very good into these sorts of matchups. What would I like for this matchup. I think Engine Explosives has some interesting text to it. I think the Pyroblasts look pretty good into things like Kaito, just having a nice answer for that. I don't think we need Surgicals. I don't think we need Force of Vigor. How are we beating a Harbinger of the Seas? It's probably just the Lightning Bolts and this. We're going to be on the draw, so the Gemstone Caverns, I guess, comes in. Is that better than a Mox Diamond? Is that what we do with that? Kind of the same thing, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think we need the Soul Guide Lantern, so we can take that one out. I'm not so hot on Brainstorm against the Orcish Bowmaster deck. If we take that out, that leaves us with an extra card. Do we still need a Brainstorm? It does feel like things can go wrong for us. Maybe we just have a Disruptor Flute to name Kaito. And we've got 2 outs to a Kaito that way, as well as the Pyroblasts. I'm okay with this. I think our matchup here is very solid, though. Life from the Loam and other things, I will keep this. Something like a Doughty Voidwalker might be awkward, but because they're playing on so many basics, they don't have as an easier time of getting the Doughty Voidwalker, because Basic Island means they can't cast a Doughty Voidwalker. Are we going to see a creature here? No, so we are going to wasteland our opponents. They would not play out this Underground Sea if they could play out a basic here, unless they are trying to specifically cast a turn 2 Doughty Voidwalker. Either way, they're getting wasted here. Say goodbye to your only land. Hopefully, they don't have many more. The Springs untapped, and a Tamiyo. Tamiyo is good. We have Karakas in our deck, though. Maze of Ith in this does not seem like the most useful thing to be doing. I don't really want to play out crop rotation right now. We're just going to get this expedition map in. They don't have days available because they've only got Soporific Springs, so if they wanted to counter that, they'd have to spend a real counter spell. And now we can work towards doing Life from the Loam stuff. Otawara can answer the Tamiyo at some point, if it flips. I think I'm more worried about them just drawing extra cards every turn than I am about them flipping it. Brainstorms, they are flipping it right away. You got it, opponent. I miss not having a Blast Zone whenever I play lands that don't have them. I'm a big fan of Blast Zone. Plus in the Tamiyo, Ornithopter. Not a great card, but it's an enabler for some of their shenanigans. Some lists don't even bother with the Ornithopter anymore because of Tamiyo. Yavimaya. What are we doing with the Yavimaya? Giving our opponent green mana is probably fine. We could just get soloed out by a Tamiyo. If they draw half their deck, they should be able to piece together a win. And they're going to send a friend in? No. Let's activate our expedition map here. What do we even get here? We don't have an Ancient Tomb, which would be useful to bounce this. We could go and get an Urza's Saga. That's probably the plan here, isn't it? They're going to take this up to 8, and then we're going to bounce it on the following turn before it gets to pop. A Lavaspur Boots, you say? Let's go for a Lavaspur Boots here. And I'm going to try and loam this wasteland back. It's a good target for a Force of Negation, which they can hard cast as well. I'm cracking this Prismatic Vista. I didn't need to do that, because they have mana off of fetch lands from our Yavimaya. There's a hard cast Force of Negation. We have a second Loam, so that's fine. Our main thing is not dying to Tamiyo, which we have sewn up. I don't think our opponent's deck has any Stifles in. Again, it's still like a card that people do play and might exist, but I'm not going to play around it. I don't also think we have the chance to play around it. Okay, this Otawara is going to be very clutch here. I think the Otawara is better than the Disruptor Flute because this is uncounterable. They're consigning the ability to make tokens. Well, I wasn't going to make a token this turn anyway, so that's not bad. Let's bounce this guy. Get out of here, Tamiyo. Just start from scratch, and then we have a Disruptor Flute we can deploy. We don't have a second expedition map, so we can't just use this as a tutor, but we can, with our third chapter on the stack, we can then crop rotate this as a Saga, and then bring it back. We don't get to making tokens with this. Thespian Stage. Float green mana. Crop rotate this as a Saga away. This is a great target to interact with for counter spells. They didn't have any. Interesting. How do I want to navigate this? We could go and get a Tabernacle and just lock our opponent's mana down. Or we could just get another Urza Saga. And then I think we get Pithing Needle here. Name Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar, or do I name Kaito? I'm more worried about Kaito right now, actually. Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. Play our land for a turn. This becomes a copy of Dark Depths. We give our guy haste. They have to either chop block or have a removal spell that works here. And if this doesn't work, we're still doing the Urza Saga plan, so it's still pretty good. I imagine the Ornithopter is going under the bus. Oh, they're paying costs. They have a removal spell. Alright, goodbye to our guy. But like I said, we're still just on the let's get them with a bunch of constructs plan. Would love an exploration so we can play more lands, but it's not a thing we have access to right now. So they get a clue here. What is our plan? Oh, they got a guy. Okay, they're brainstorming now to flip the Tamiyo. We have a Disruptor Flute. We can also make a Hasty Guy. I think I like Disruptor Flute plus Life from the Loam this turn. But we'll see what we draw in case that changes things. Also, if our opponent taps out, maybe that changes things for us. But generally speaking, I think we need to get this Disruptor Flute down. Getting through the Ornithopter could be a bit annoying. Yeah, but you can plus your Tamiyo. Fun and interactive and healthy play pattern for all. Let's draw a card. And hopefully we get a Lightning Bolt. Don't really have the mana for Lightning Bolt, do we? We're going to decide to memory this. Be my guest. I would like to Life from the Loam back. Age, Depths, and Saga, please. Actually, we get the Otawara back. We've got one card in hand and we're playing around a daze here. Could be crack a clue, look for a blue card, or a force. No, we're just in with it, aren't we? Which of these do I want to play out? Probably the Depths. I'll fire him with one of these. Let's get our Disruptor Flute online. I think we're going to see a clue cracked here. They could have another consign to memory though. Right, cracking a clue. That is a little bit of a desperation move. Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar. Okay. Next turn we can do Hasty 2020. Force our opponent to do something about it. Alright, they've got a guy of some description here. Is it going to be Ingenious Infiltrator or Yuriko? It's Ingenious Infiltrator. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't have the Otawara to bounce this just yet. Another Tamiyo. Sure, one card in hand. Is it a removal spell? Who knows? Am I dredging this? I don't think I am. Not this turn. We'll float some mana off of this. Are they going to fetch around Pithing Needle or are they going to consign this trigger? Mox Diamond. Bin off. Wasteland, I think. Play this Thespian stage. Thespian stage becomes a copy of this. Choose the Dark Depths to keep this one, please. Equip this guy. Good attacks. We can line about one of the guys, but not both, so there's not really much point. Just attack them. Is it now the time for the Ornithopter to go under the bus? It is. I think this is also a good enough turn to line and bolt this guy that draws some extra cards. Cracking the clue, looking for an answer. Are we going to see Tamiyo held back on blocks? We can bounce out of the way as well if that's the thing they do. They're going for in with the Tamiyo, so this suggests to me they probably have a ninja. They're going to bounce back to Tamiyo and redeploy it as a blocker. We can then Otawara it out of the way. If it's a Kaito, it doesn't do anything. It's a Yuriko. What is our opponent going to reveal? It's a Thoughtseize. That does not impact our hand, and our opponent, I don't know if they know about this Maze of Ith, so we have one mystery card, I think, from their perspective. Yep, we'll take 2 life. If we're dealing increments of 20, taking 2 damage isn't really a big deal here. I think if we're winning with Urza Saga here, our opponent probably doesn't make that play. They've got 2 cards in hand. The Otawara just gives us lethal through a Tamiyo. Drawing a card here. They deploy a Tamiyo, we bounce a Tamiyo, they die. Alright, looks like we've got where we need to be. I'm not going to dredge the Life from the Loam. Bounce this out of the way. Swing for lethal. And we win the game. A classic lands versus sort of mid-rangey tempo style deck. Excellent. Let's go to round number 2. We got Life from the Loam. That finds us everything we need, but the rest of our hand is kind of not exciting. We're going to need this Life from the Loam to hit. I think I'll still keep it though. We get the Mox Diamond turn 1 Loam hand, so we are going to be like cooking with gas pretty early on and digging our way through. Misty Rainforest, let's play this Mox Diamond. I'll discard. It's Otawara, I think. Crack the Misty Rainforest. Don't want to show my opponent red mana, or would I like to have more access to? I'll just get this trop and not show them the red mana. Let's get back these 2 lands. Nice little draw 2. They're unlikely to interact with this. And we pass it over. We're going to be dredging Life from the Loam. So we're going to keep our graveyard popped up here. Because it's going to be the key zone for us, really. We don't want to see some sort of graveyard hate piece come down. 1 lander they kept. A. So I mean they're a combo deck that's just about to like smash us up. Possibly. Do we have any Surveil lands? No Surveil lands. Guess I'll play this Thespian stage. And we'll just loan back this other Otawara. And just keep digging. We've got half of a combo. Our opponent isn't doing anything. Maybe they just kept a hand that just needed like a little bit more mana and they pretty much win the game on the spot. So my impression is our opponent is playing Omni-tell. And they've got the hand rolled up, they just needed more lands. If they miss on this Brainstorm though, that's going to be unpleasant for them. They didn't miss, but they did find a land that we can maybe wasteland. Dredge our Loam. I'll get back these lands. I guess I'll play it as Misty Rainforest so we have a little bit more available to bring back with our Loam and thins our deck marginally. Our plan here is to hold this Bojuka Bog in hand. If our opponent puts a show and tell on the stack, we put in the Bojuka Bog. This puts a trigger on the stack, which allows us to then respond with Boseiju before they can cast any sorcery speed spells for free through the Omniscience. So this is our little solution to show and tell. But this is where our sideboard and all of our other stuff should come in quite handy. Wish we had a surveil land that we could grab here. Send this away now. Get Taiga. Make our opponent think about red mana a little bit. Loam. Didn't really dredge anything exciting here. I guess we play out the Yavimaya. Get this back. We just continue this little merry song and dance where our opponent sculpts a perfect hand to put us in the dirt. Okay, we're on Bant, are we? I'm no longer thinking show and tell. It might just be a control deck. Prismatic ending on our Mox Diamond. I'll float mana. If they are some sort of weird Bant deck, I don't want to just make my Thespian stage into a snow-covered island and then just immediately lose to something weird. At least we have the interaction of the Boseiju here. Quantum Riddler. So this is probably Bant Beans, which is arguably the only real way to play control in the format right now. It's certainly the only controller that's got good numbers behind it. Maze of Ith, Tabernacle, Thespian stage, like, sure. We're just kind of drawing a bunch of stuff, but not really getting where we need to go. I think this time I'm going to play this Bojuka Bog. Keep them off of a Murktide Regent. Got to discard 2 cards. I guess we can get rid of 1 Otawara. Maybe just a Misty is fine. At some point we'll find an Urza Saga or a Dark Depths. Now, do I think the Dark Depths is actually going to go all the way? No, but we can fire it through numerous times until it works. Here is the Riddler. Yep, they're drawing another card. At least we can Otawara this out of play. Okay, we found what we're looking for. Let's get the Dark Depths, Otawara and Misty Rainforest back, please. Do I think this Marrowlage is going to go all the way? Probably not. I think we're just going to get a Maze of Ith in and just play quite cowardly. 2 of these cards got to go away. Probably Tabernacle and Misty. Not really a Tabernacle matchup, this one. They're going to have 1, maybe 2 guys in play at any given moment. Would have loved to have found an Urza Saga by now. Sure, we'll dredge this Loam. We did find the Urza Saga. That's a big hit. Let's Loam back. Let's get Saga, Karakas, in case I have failure. And it doesn't really matter what the other one is. We're going to discard some number of these anyway. Now what are we doing? We have the maze. Are we just going to send in a guy, or are we going to start this Urza Saga train? I think we start the train here with the Urza Saga. We're going to see a failure here, or is this just going to be a surveil land at end step? A Hull Breacher. Not a massive fan of that. The second stage is fine for now. I think we're just going to be cranking out the Urza Saga constructs. They could do the wheel thing, which shuffles away our graveyard, but we at least have a... I guess we'll lose our grip as well, actually, won't we? So we won't have much going on. Let's untap this Quantum Riddler, so we're only taking 3 this turn. And we're going to just start doing Urza Saga stuff. I think we're going to call it on the Life from Loam for a turn. Second Saga. Okay, we at least drew something useful there. I'll play out as Karakas. And we'll just make some constructs. We can Otawara out a Hull Breacher if we want to. Kind of holding this in case they have like a wheel effect that I don't want to get caught up in. A lot of basics on our opponent's deck. I imagine this is probably all of the basics in there. The double island's interesting. I guess they have the blue on the Riddler that they're interested in casting. Just bounce this Riddler back with the Maze of Ith. I can't afford to bounce this in combat, because if they play it and then play a wheel effect, it's really annoying. Excuse me. Let's just see if we can grind some Saga value. Let's make a friend. Make another friend. Try and crop rotate away this Urza Saga. That might be worth a counter spell. Hardcast Force. Sure. What do we want off of this? Probably Lavaspur Boots, although I can certainly see an argument for this Expedition map or the Mox Diamond. I think we're just going to get the Lavaspur Boots there. Put this one down. Let's make... I have to scroll down to find the right ability here. Let's make an Urza Saga construct. Can't get in with enough damage here. I shouldn't have done that then. My maths was just bad. I will still equip one of them, I think. Although I'd kind of want to just hold open for failure here. Which is, I think I'm just going to hold open the Karakas for a failure. Because they can start flickering out our construct tokens. I don't really want any part of that. Dress down. Yeah, making that construct when we did was real bad. Real bad. We can turn our Urza Saga into a basic land though. And then we can just keep cranking out constructs. And they can't interact with that. I think that eventually wins us the game. I wonder if they've got some sort of Uro they're going to try and dump in right now. They've got the dress down cover. I thought my constructs were going to be 1 bigger than they were, so we could attack with 2 5 toughness creatures. But that was not the case. Take some damage from this Hull Breacher. They're going to wheel us. They can't wheel us until dress down goes away, actually. Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Pithing Needle is in the graveyard, not ideal. I'm going to brainstorm here. Somehow the Jace the Mind Sculptor Planeswalker is less scary than the backside of Tamiyo Planeswalker, which costs a quarter of the mana. What a world. Are we going to see another Riddler? A Ponder, sure. They shuffled off the Ponder. Another Ponder. I think we probably loan back our Urza Saga here. Just get another one of those going. And then make this Urza Saga into a snow-covered forest. No, we don't need a snow-covered forest if we've got the Yavimaya. Doesn't really matter what we make it into. And Endurance. That's pretty good. We're going to lose... Oh no, we're not going to lose anything because the dress down. I wonder if our opponent missed that as well. I will dredge this Loam. This will become a copy of this. We get to search for a... I think it's probably just Mox Diamond here. Pumps our guys. We could just get the Expedition map. Right, we'll get the Expedition map. And then we're going to cast Life from Loam targeting Tabernacle, Urza Saga. Force of Negation. Okay, let's do it again. Urza Saga. Probably just Thespian Stage is actually better, isn't it? Let's have another one. We will grind through this game eventually. Let's get this Saga up and running. And we'll continue. So we had to make 2 constructs a turn. And then it's 3 constructs a turn for a turn or 2. And that hopefully overwhelms our opponent enough that we can maybe bap them with a 20/20 at some point. When they can just block it and then bounce it with the Jace, I'm not looking to do Dark Depths type shenanigans. We just want to Urza Saga our way through this one. Probably not dredging Life from Loam for a little bit. Wait till all of our Sagas have run their course. We do need to be aware of the amount of cards left in our deck. Because if we're dredging a lot, then that 25 will go away quite quickly. Now maybe they have another Endurance and try and wipe our graveyard. That's fine too. Do need to be wary of our life total though. They're bouncing the Endurance so they can replay this. It's fine. I've got all the things I need in my hand right now. Another Riddler. You got it. Are they just going to wipe both of our Loams now? Or are they going to hold this in case we dredge the Loam? We're just not going to dredge the Loam. Alright, this is interesting. I'm going to just kill this Jace with our Lightning Bolt. It's gone. Let's play this Urza Saga, get that cranking up. And now we can just make... I guess we have to make the Marit Lage in combat to survive here. Or we can bounce a Quantum Riddler. We have options. We're going to play this Endurance, presumably wipe our graveyard. They might do their own graveyard, just in case this game goes on forever. No, they're getting rid of ours, sure. Which is why we have this Expedition map, which can help us out. So this now has to become a Dark Depths. If they have a Swords to Plowshares, that's a lot of life we are working with. So we want to block a Riddler, block a Hull Breacher, take some damage. Dress Down. How do we feel about Dress Down? Not amazing. Okay, we still have a 20/20. We still have a Maze of Ith. We can block here. And then we get rid of this. And then we have to Otawara away the Hull Breacher. Wait, we don't have enough mana for that, do we? We're 1 shy. That is awkward, isn't it? No, I think they actually have us here. Oh, that was an awkward one. I think this game should be alright for us. But we did just have to brick so many turns on our Life from Loam. I would like some Pyroblast, please. They seem pretty useful. Disruptor Flute. Maybe okay. I guess we can take out this Gemstone Caverns. Sort of interested in Spell Pierces. I think we want to keep the Lightning Bolts in because our opponent's probably bringing in Harbinger of the Seas. I don't think we need the Soulguide Lantern. So we could just board in a couple of Pyroblast. Do I want any of these sorts of effects? I don't think so. I'm just going to try and power through what our opponent's doing. I'm probably going to have Tamiyo, which is a card that requires us to have something like a Disruptor Fruit to answer it. So we do have these spells and we can pressure it. Alright, I think we're just going to believe in our deck here. We missed on so many Life from Loam dredges that game. If we'd have just got an Urza Saga running early, we'd have been fine. Also, I made a misplay in terms of when I made my Saga because I miscounted the amount of power or the amount of toughness they'd have. And that was a real shame too. What does this hand do? It starts the ball rolling again, but this time we have an Urza Saga, so I'm going to keep this one. So I'm going to put Tabernacle and Karakas in the bin off of the Mox Diamonds. And then we cast Life from Loam. And we just start Saga gaming. Alternatively, we play 1 Mox Diamond, play the Saga, cast a Life from Loam. But we can get 2 cards back if the Life from Loam is ours. But if we get snagged by a Force of Negation, it might be frustrating for us. Here is our Mox Diamond. Here's another Mox Diamond. Here is our Life from Loam. If this resolves, I think this game is going to go well for us. If it doesn't, then it could be a little touch and go. Irresolved. Now let's get our Saga in. And over to your opponent. We've got a little bit of time on the clock over our opponent. It could be a relevant factor because our opponent's deck is very slow at winning the game. Ours can be as well if we're in a really grindy game. But we don't have Ghost Quarters to fully grind and take all of our opponent's resources. I'm not going to dredge Life from Loam just yet. We don't need to. Why am I making a token now? It makes no sense. We make this Thespian stage. We just make a 3/3 that attacks as a 5/5 next turn. And we also attack with another friend. So this is going to be a very quick clock if our opponent doesn't have the dress down. Would love to see our opponent ponder or something here. Or just not play a land drop would also be fine. I guess our opponent did flounder a bit in game one. Like we floundered with our Life from Loam not hitting anything and they missed a few land drops. But we couldn't take advantage of that at all. Whereas if we'd have had a hand like this, the game would have ended very quickly. Alright, looks like we're about to get dressed down. Oh no, just a beanstalk. Okay, so we get to punch our opponent in the face for a whole bunch here. That's good news. Here it comes. I think I will dredge this. Bring another friend. We go and get Lavaspur Boots. We put our opponent on 2-turn clock. Attacking for 11 on turn 3. Unfortunately, Lavaspur Boots doesn't give you additional power, so dress down will just kill all of our guys. We start the Life from Loam train again. Spot removal is awkward because of the ward here. But they can take out one of our constructs, which does take out 6 power. But that means we're putting them on 2-turn clock then. Gonna be tough, opponent. New play for our opponent. This probably means a dress down in our turn or removal spell in our turn. Something of that ilk. Let's just get stuck in with some big construct friends. We're hoping for plow rather than dress down. It's the dress down. We don't get a window where we can stop this. We're just going to lose all of our guys. But it means they can't hard cast something to stop us getting these lands back there. So there's no hard cast force of negation. They could pitch cast it. Endurance. This won't do anything because of their own dress down. So they just pitch 2 cards for no reason. Alright, let's have this Urza Saga. And then we can turn our Thespian stage into an Urza Saga as well. This endurance will stick around if that's what they're interested in. But I don't really think that's the crux of this game right now. So next turn is probably just make 2 constructs in our opponent's end step. They might not, I don't even think they can get him for 3 here because we can just haste up a guy. It's just going to be a back to basics, you say. Intriguing. I guess I would like to have... Would I like my Thespian stage to tap multiple times? Or am I happy with just the 1 tap off of it? I'm happy with just the 1 tap off of it. Dramatic ending on a Mox. Okay. We have a Boseiju for this. It's not actually an issue. We're not going to dredge this one. Another Life from Loam. Not really what I wanted. I think I play out... I don't want to play out the Yavimaya. It makes their life much easier. Play out a basic land here. And then we'll pass... Make sure that their land stays tapped for this turn cycle. And then we can pop the back to basics and jam a construct, untap, jam another construct. It's the Riddler. It's only been warped though. Snow-covered island over there. Goodbye, back to basics. Some of these land decks are running up to 4 Boseijus, so you shouldn't really expect your enchantments and artifacts to hang around too long against a land style strategy. They do get a land here though. Make a friend. I won't dredge this because we already have one in hand. A lightning bolt. Let's make a construct. We're about to get dressed down again. Alright, we're not getting a tutor. Let's get those 2 lands. Then we can play out a Saga, use that to equip the Lavaspur Boots. Swords to Plowshares. You got it. So now we have a 3/3 that can't attack in. But I'm also okay with that for now. Gonna be a grindy one. We can F6 our opponent's turn and buy ourselves a bit more clock. Our opponent's got like 3 minutes less on their clock than us. We're going to see a prismatic ending and just another plow. Sure, you got it. They're going to start attacking. They are. They do need to get this game won at some point. They've only got 1 card in hand though. I don't think they're odds on to win this one. I guess they can bring back the Riddler actually. So they actually have 3 cards in hand because they're going to have enough cards to trigger the Riddler. That's going to go up to 4 cards because of the Beanstalk, right? Is this if you have 1 off your... Yeah. So they're only going to draw 1 extra card off of this. But the other Beanstalk got there still. Do I want to dredge this? No. Okay, so we have a Saga. That's good to know. I could play out this Tabernacle. I don't really want to be Tabernacling right now, though. I think we just want to get this other Urza Saga in. Just keep Saga in. We have this Lightning Bolt, which can go to the face and mess up our opponent's calculations. Like, do they just hold back with the Riddler? Or do they hold back with Endurance? They hold back with neither and really risk getting jammed up? We'll find out, I guess. Up the Beanstalk. You got it. Cards is not what this game is going to be about. I think this is going to be a life total race. At some point they find the Force of Negation, which does slow us down a bit. I'm just getting in with everything. It's only a strategy you're allowed to do. This probably means they have a dress down. A Brainstorm is fine. So we're going to turn our Thespian stage into an Urza Saga, I think. And just let it slowly tick up and give us more and more guys. Actually, is this the turn we do that? We have the mana spare now. So make a guy, and then if we turn this into an Urza Saga, next turn it goes up to chapter 1. We're just using it for mana. Next turn it can make constructs, but we're not going to have enough mana to use it. Actually, that's not true, because we're going to get a Mox Diamond, aren't we? So we do want to just make this into an Urza Saga. Dress down. Okay. So this is going to be in play for our turn, so our constructs won't be able to deal any damage, because they'll be dead. Pyroblast is a pretty good one. All 3 chapters of the saga. We make a guy, it immediately dies. So I think the play here is to float some mana here. We could just get an expedition map, crack it, go and get what? A Maze of Ith? So 2 mana. Yeah, we have enough to do it all. So this learns to do some stuff, this learns to do some stuff. Let's crack the map, go and get ourselves a Maze of Ith here to buy ourselves a little bit more time. We also have a Pyroblast our opponent is unlikely to anticipate. But we could save that for the next dress down to make sure it doesn't just cook our entire team. We have the life total to work with, so I don't mind doing that. Flow Strand. They're going to 7. We just need to hit them for 4. A Beanstalk. No, sorry, a Quantum Riddler triggering both Beanstalks. I don't think we're fighting over the Riddler. I think we're fighting over maybe like a blocker or a dress down. Those are the 2 things we care about. We could also just find our other lightning bolt and maybe cheese our opponent out completely. I'm going to go to blocks. I'm going to maze back this endurance. So we're doing this so that if we do produce enough power here, we can go through. Should we do the calculations? But we don't know how many things our opponent's going to try and interfere with us using. So this gets warped away. We get to make a friend. Hardcast Force of Will is definitely a possibility here. Let's Pyroblast this before they get to draw a card off of it. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Force of Will drawing them 2 cards. Or do they have another follow-up? So we get to attack through this and live if they don't have another dress down. Don't think I want this dress down right. So I would like to make a friend. Here we go. We can shoot up a Mox Diamond. Get rid of this Tabernacle. This also gets stuck in here. We can play this Yavimaya. Use this to equip our construct here. Go to attacks. Attack with both creatures. They block 1. And we have a lightning bolt. Maybe. Swords to Plowshares paying the ward. This is going to reduce this guy to a 4/4, but we can make another construct if we need to make our guy bigger. Are you going to take 4 here, opponent? Snapcaster Mage. How do you feel about Snapcaster Mage? I don't like it. So I'm going to go and get back the Swords to Plowshares. They're going to give us some more life to work with. And now we are somewhat running low on options. I don't think they get to attack with Snapcaster here. Well, they are attacking with Snapcaster. Okay. This feels like a trap, but here we are. Make a construct to block the Snapcaster with. And then we'll maze back the Quantum Riddler. Sorry, the Endurance, because this is easier for us to attack through. Okay, we just killed the Snapcaster. This is going to be the other Quantum Riddler. Yep. Drawing many cards. Brent doesn't have the most amount of time still. Ponder, you go ahead. We've got Shuffle. Prismatic Ending. You got it, boss. A Quantum Riddler drawing yet more cards. Okay. Bye-bye, Quantum Riddler. That's over to us. We have some choices. I'm going to dredge this Loam, I think. But then we're in our main phase. We can turn this into a basic and churn out some guys if we think we have time. I think we do have time. Trying another Mox Diamond here. Makes our guys very large. I would like to get back Saga, Otawara, I think. A Force of Negation. You got it. We can dredge the other Loam right now if we want to. Let's cast a Brainstorm. Our opponent's going to be very surprised by this. There's a life from the Loam. Some more life from Loams. We're going to put on top another Loam and a Lightning Bolt. Kind of need this Lightning Bolt to get the final damages through. I need this to stay alive. I guess we're not dredging Loam next turn. So now we'll Loam back Saga. Then we can play out a Saga. Get this going so we can make 2 constructs attacking next turn. Oh, sorry, 1 construct attacking next turn. So we're going to have to hold back on blocks. We don't have a Maze of Ith, but they might hold back a guy anyway. Ponder from our opponent. We can just F6 this turn. We just need to connect once and then Lightning Bolt for the finish. I don't know how many counter spells our opponent's going to have in their deck at this point. We haven't seen any really, have we? Force of Negations, no Force of Wills. So they might just not be on Force of Wills because they're not great against us. We're going to see... So they can attack with everything and then play the... Or they can bounce our Saga, that's really annoying. Yeah. And then we take 11. That's more than I would have liked. Prismatic Ending on the Lavaspur Boots is huge here. On the Riddler. Yeah, I think our opponent's going to get us here. We're not doing this. We draw this Lightning Bolt. What is our plan here? Surgical Extraction on Life from Loam. They're going to 4 and we have a Lightning Bolt in hand. That's unfortunate because now they're not going to crack a fetch land. So we get rid of one of these, 2 of these. We still take 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're still alive for a turn. We also get to block. So we can play this one out. Am I just going to Lightning Bolt the face right now? I don't think so. I think we're just going to hold up this Otawara. So we've got a guy. We've got a Maze of Ith. So we fog these 2. We bounce the Quantum Riddler because if they start replaying Quantum Riddlers, they're going to lose a lot. Okay, so we will Maze of Ith this guy. We will create a token. We can block with if we wish. So they get to cast all their stuff instant speed. So they're pondering here. They haven't got a lot of time. 1 minute 15. You killing my guy? Prismatic Ending. Sure. We can Otawara bounce one of these. This will take us down to 1 life, which is not 0. I'm not going to replay that guy. That's a shame for us. Exploration. So this makes a guy... We don't quite have what we need here. Let's play Exploration out. Put the Saga. Found the Wasteland. Lightning Bolt their Dome. I guess last turn, instead of making a construct, we could have turned this into a Maze of Ith. And that would give us double Maze of Ith this turn. And then we would have forced them to play their Quantum Riddler. And then I think we get the game. Yeah, that's just a thing we could have done if we'd have thought about it for a minute longer. Tap one of these. Make a guy. And then we die because we didn't do the play with copying the thing last turn. Yeah, that was awkward. Unfortunately, we lose that match, which is a little bit sad. All right, we're at 0-4 in games. So, sorry, no, we're 1-1, aren't we? We 2-0'd and then we 8'd. Sorry, that was a very long one and my brain's fried. Let's go and play round number 3. Okay, we are on the play. An Exploration. They do exist. Okay, this hand looks pretty darn good to me. We get to go Exploration into Urza's Saga and Expedition map. And then we've got a Life of Loam to keep the party going. Exploration, please. We also have the surprise Brainstorm we can fire off at some point. That opponent won't be expecting. A Wasteland on the Urza's Saga, I would assume. Goodbye, Urza's Saga. Let's try and get it back. And it's back again. And now we have our engine rolling. Alright, our opponent's just straight up scooped to that. I've played one of our opponent's decks on the channel before because they want a challenge. I think they play a lot of tempo. They also have a Days Avatar, so it's all that sort of jam. We have things that we can be interested in, like these things. I don't mind having the Soul Guide Lantern. I think it's reasonable in this sort of matchup. We could board in this Gemstone Caverns as well, since we're on the draw. Just give ourselves a little bit more wiggle room. I like so much of our deck though. We're just going to be boarding out Brainstorms. That seems like an option. We could also just get rid of some crop rotations because we don't really want to cast them into their counter magic. Could try that. I like having access to Life from Loam. That is an engine card. I think we can keep this. It's not an amazing hand. If they do not play a threat on turn 1, then I like our hand a lot. If they just ponder. But if they go Delver or Dragon's Rage Channeler, things can get a little bit awkward. It's an island. It's a ponder. Okay. So obviously we can't wasteland this, but we can wasteland every other land in their deck. I'm pretty sure our opponent likes to play Blue-Red Delver. A Boseiju. Not a big banger for us. I guess we just play Tropical Island here. If they want to interact with it, they can. But it means they're less likely to be putting down any meaningful pressure. They didn't shuffle their ponder, so they have a threat somewhere. That's what that tells me. Or not, I guess. A Thespian stage. Sure, I'll deploy the Thespian stage. Maybe we just Dark Depths our opponent. We're going to see a Surveil land at end step. We could have played a Wasteland to deter that as a play, but then they just wouldn't fetch. Let's get in the Thespian stage and now have our opponent thinking about a whole other different host of problems. And if they Wasteland this, then it gives us a chance to Life from Loam and get things going again. Oh, they're playing white. Okay, I don't know what our opponent's deck is. Ophelia, that's pretty good against Marit-Lage. They're probably going to have plows, so the Marit-Lage pan looks real bad now. They probably hit our green mana. Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, they're on the Azorius Stoneblade deck that did really well at Eternal Weekend Asia. So we're trying to dodge Swords to Plowshares and that sort of jam. Meteor Sword. It's a good one. They're going to blink this and then get another thing. So these decks usually run 2 Meteor Swords. I think the Azorius Blink deck and the Stoneblade decks are kind of melding into one at this point as well. Okay, there's a Wasteland here. Just not doing anything. And it's bad news. Just Wasteland there. Wasteland. And then we'll float some mana. Get Life from Loam going. Let's loan back these 2 lands. A pretty clean exchange for us there. I guess we get rid of a Wasteland because our opponent's got 2 basics over there. So now they can Meteor Sword, blow up our Thespian stage, and then they're just going to be able to blink stuff. Why did they not just put in the Meteor Sword here? They might already have a land in hand, to be fair. And I'm just getting worked up over nothing. Yeah, so just going to put in the Meteor Sword, blow up our land. Do we ever come out from this? Because the Fellier's just going to be able to blink the Meteor Sword over and over and over. Do you not want to... Why didn't they activate... I don't understand. This is destroy any permanent. They could just take our last permanent. They did not decide to do that. That is weird to me. I think we just scoop if they do that. So, second Meteor Sword. We need an Expiration. Oh, we have an Expiration. That's something. They have Force of Negation. Why hasn't our opponent won the game? I guess now they just put in a Meteor Sword and blow up both of our lands. But they missed last turn taking us off of having any permanents at all, which was a bit of a shocker to me. I think if we had the Mox Diamond, we would have cast it already because we went to discard last turn anyway. There's a Tamio. What are you... Okay, we're doing it in the beginning of combat. So here comes a Meteor Sword. If you haven't seen this before, it's pretty gross, pretty cool. They blow up one of our lands, and then the Fellier's going to blink it, and then they're going to blow up our other land. And then we're going to scoop. Yep. Okay. That was horrible. How do I feel about this matchup? Disruptor Flute kind of gets answered by Fellier anyway, because what they do is they blink this out and then they get to use their Stoneforge. I don't like it there. Crop Rotation, Force of Vigor can blow up like the Meteor Sword. Pyroblast did not look as good as I thought it might. Maybe if we Disruptor Flute, just have that for the Stoneforge. I know it's not always going to work, but I think that's how this game spins out of control for us if they get like an early Meteor Sword down. This hand looks good. The Loam plan isn't the best here. Let's go play the Mox Diamond out first. Bin this off. Play this. Get this back. So now we can grind constructs if we want them. I'm not going to dredge Loam, and I would like to draw an untapped mana source, please. That's the one we wanted. Let's grind out some friends. Now they're probably going to have access to some number of Dress Down, which, as we saw in the previous round, can completely undo many turns of our work in one go. Fellier, also not the worst for them. Let's make a friend. I'm not going to dredge this just yet. Are they going to respond with their Flooded Strand? They are. So Cheese is not live there. Fellier is the thing I am worried about though. And because of that, I'm going to get the Expedition map. Go to Tax. Play Maze of Ith. Here comes the Fellier. There it is. So we could have not made the second construct and had a Karakas in play. That was our other option for this turn. Maybe that works out better, but they're just going to be blinking these out for a little bit. But then next turn we can Karakas this and just get rid of it forever. We'll see what our opponent plays. We're not going to take damage from the Fellier either because of the Maze of Ith. Stoneforge Mystic. We're going to see a Meteor Sword, perhaps. It is a Meteor Sword. Can we beat this? This feels really good against us. I don't think we're dredging here. We need to draw our Lightning Bolt. Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale is not the worst, though. Let's attack in. They're just going to take the damage here. I think we can Brainstorm first as well. Cast a Brainstorm. What are we putting back? Just a couple of lands that we're going to mill over in a second anyway, I would assume. Or just another Brainstorm. But that can be pretty good after we've milled over once more. We can play the Mox Diamond and do this, but then they can blink this and then get the Meteor Sword. So we're just kind of in that bind that I mentioned before that happens. So I think we're playing the Tabernacle this turn. Probably means we're putting these two on top. Place Mox Diamond. Bin this off. Play this. If we play this to stop this, that probably actually does quite a lot of work for us. Let's get this Disruptor Flute in now. And then we Stoneforge Mystic. So they can't get the Meteor Sword in. And if they have to pay for the Failure and the Stoneforge Mystic, then they're going to need to find another land as well and lose the Tamiyo. So we've got some Tabernacle triggers to enjoy their opponent. Alright, one down. Keeping the Stoneforge around? No. Okay, what about the Failure? You've got to be keeping the Failure, surely. And now we can tutor for Karakas and just deal with this forever. We're going to lose our Construct. Okay, they went for the Harbinger instead. Okay. We know what's on top of our library and we don't really like it. So we're going to clear our library using this Life from Below. And now we attack with our large friend. Okay, it's just getting ploughed. So now we can Brainstorm. We've got a Shuffle effect. We can Loam and do all sorts of stuff. These aren't really the ones we want. I don't mind playing this as a Saga, Dark Depths out there. So if I crack this to get an Otawara, we can't pop it immediately. If I Life from the Loam back some stuff, we can dredge and clear the top of our library. I think we're just going to go and get an Otawara. Quantum Riddler. Sure. I really hate the frame on this, but the art is cool. Metal. So we're going to take a little bit of damage here. No, they're not attacking at all. Do I fetch the Otawara? I think I do. It shuffles the top of our deck as well. So we can get a 20/20 on command here. Play this out. Turn Sagas here. Oh, I think I misclicked that. Let's click on the ones we actually want here. Saga, Saga. So green and colorless. Or blue, I guess. So we can make a 20/20 and force our opponent to block with it. They have one white source available, but they have more in a minute. We're going to bounce this anyway. This is free damage to get in. Batter Skull. Okay. Just bounce this guy. And then we just dredge Life from the Loam. We don't have to pay because this is indestructible. It doesn't get destroyed. Dredge Life from the Loam. We go get back this Otawara and some other stuff. Play a land for turn. Bounce this guy. And then we swing for 20. Alright, we managed to get the match. That felt really hard and scary, but we did manage to find a line in the end. This Meteor Sword is no joke. There's an equipment they used to run that was black that used to kill creatures. But now they have this one that blows up any permanent, which is an enormous upgrade. But then also, it's colorless, so you can just play 2 colors again. Because you don't necessarily need the black mana for it or anything. Alright, 3 rounds down, 2 to go. Let's keep at it. This hand has a Dark Depths combo, but nothing else going. I suppose we've got this Saga, but it's going to be slow grinding this one out. There's so many ways that we just die before we get to do anything, but I guess we can... an aggro deck has to play through Tabernacle. We're going to try it. Like, double Dark Depths isn't great. We're going to see a Delver here. So we can force them to pay via the Tabernacle. I guess we're doing that. I think that works out better than trying to do as a Saga, because we don't have Shadow Spear. We only have the Lavaspur Boots. If we had Shadow Spear, then maybe working towards that would be better. So this at least stymies their turn this time, but it does cost us a turn. But maybe they're not going to put any additional pressure into play until they can find a Wasteland. Okay, they did not reveal, and they are paying to keep their creature around. You got it, opponent. Okay, here's the Wasteland. That was a possibility with this hand. They should Wasteland before we have the ability to crop rotate it. I think that's a mistake from our opponent there. I'll play out a basic forest. They could just use the Wasteland to pay for their Tabernacle trigger, but then they're going to want to get rid of it the next turn if they put additional pressure down. Okay, looks like they're just using their Wasteland to pay. They did not reveal either. There's only 1 damage coming in for us. I wonder why they went for that instead of Wasteland and Tabernacle. We've got a Ponder, so unless they shuffle, the Delver should flip next turn, and they get to actually have a real clock. They played a land, which is good for them. Okay. I'll play as a Saga with the intention of crop rotating it if they Wasteland it. They didn't shuffle the Ponder, so we're going to see a Delver flip. They have a fetch land so they can flip and then shuffle if it's a card they don't really want. So counter spells aren't always great against us. It's a Force of Will. Are they going to shuffle or are they going to keep that? I'm holding the crop rotation to trade with this Force of Will. So when they Wasteland us, we then trade. So we end up 2 for 3. But they could just let us do our thing. Right, it's our turn. I like Exploration a lot. Let's go for this Exploration. It's probably worth a Force of Will to our opponent. It's going to be difficult to get up and running with our Saga this turn though. But that's okay. We can tutor for Expedition Map. Or we can tutor for Speedy Boots. Maybe turn it into a Yavimaya. Have 1 mana. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So we can turn it into a Wasteland or Yavimaya. We've got some options available. Our opponent's clock is only 3 damage a turn for now. It's when the Murktide gets involved and all of a sudden we're taking like 10 damage in a turn. That's when the problem will be for us. Is it time to wasteland opponent? No. They're holding this wasteland. Okay, they're going to wasteland our Boseiju. I'm going to crop rotate away this Boseiju. We're getting another Force of Will. So we're trading 2 for 3. So that is a favourable trade for us. If they follow up with a Murktide here, we can Expedition Map, get a a Maze of Ith, and keep the Murktide at bay. We still have to then deal with the Delver. But our opponent's mana is going to be fully tied up if they do that. Okay, didn't do any of those things that we thought they might. Let's see what we draw and see if it... Okay, we drew the Expedition Map. Okay, I think that means we get Lavaspur Boots and just set up for something in a couple of turns' time. Right, we'll make my Thespian stage into a forest so it can't be wasted. Just line of Bolt to the Dome. 1 card in hand, 3 turns before our opponent kills us. We need to draw... A crop rotation would be very good here. Just give us more mana to work with. We're probably going to go to 3 before we can get something online here, which is not the lifestyle I'd like to be at. Otawara. We can't go bouncy with that, can we? Expedition Map. If we play the Otawara, we can crack the Expedition Map, but that doesn't help us. Not as much as you would think. I think I've focused too much on trying to get the combo off here. Let's play the Otawara and Brainstorm. Okay, we should have done this before you cast the Expedition Map, really. I haven't played this game very well, in my opinion. I'm a bit frazzled. I've been recording for a lot of hours now. Soul Guide Lantern, Life from Loam. We don't need double depths. We're going to be 1 turn too slow here, but I think that was our own making here. We could have played a control game instead of trying to do some combo shenanigans here and just focused on getting the Maze of Ith. If they got another Lightning Bolt, then I don't think our plan worked anyway. No. Our plan wasn't going to work, whatever we did there, if they had that second Lightning Bolt. It's fine. I think this matchup's very good for us. This is like the bread and butter thing that lands feast upon, but because they have burn, they sometimes do manage to get over the edge. I would like some Pyroblasts. I would like an Engineered Explosives. I guess we don't want the Gemstone Cavern. The Soul Guide Lantern is fine. Sometimes we might find ourselves fetching it, so I think it's worth keeping in. I like the Lightning Bolts a lot. The crop rotations are a little bit sketchier here. So we'll trim a couple of those and just have these things and call it a day. Only 1 land. I don't want to keep this one. Life from the Loam, Wasteland, Lightning Bolt. These are cards I'm very interested in having. We do have a blue source, so I guess we get rid of the Brainstorm. I'll play this Taiga. If they want to Wasteland it, that's fine. We have enough lands to then just recoup it with a Life from the Loam. If they play a creature, we can then punish their turn 1 play. They're going to get a basic island here. They are. It's a Delver. I think we can bolt this around a days. There's no need to play into it. There's no Punishing Fire as the old Lightning Bolt. That's what I missed. The lands deck where Punishing Fire was one of your win conditions. Those were the days. That was pre-Urza Saga. We've got a crop rotation if they wasteland us, and then it sort of forces them to trade multiple cards. A Brainstorm is fine. If they play a second land, we can waste it. If they leave it just as a fetch, then we don't get to do that. But they probably want to get on board and play something that can start turning sideways. Just a ponder. Okay. I am certainly in favour of wastelanding my opponent here. So we'll go for Wasteland into Loam. This would be a good turn to draw an Exploration. They didn't use Ponder's abilities. They found something they liked. Might just be more lands. Make sure they can actually cast their spells. Oh, we found an Exploration. Well, there goes one of the very best draws that we had. If they force this, yep, that's fine. I'm still going to wasteland you. We've got emergency crop rotation and we've got Life from Loam next turn. We can even crop rotation and then Life from Loam if we think our opponent's not going to interact with us. Delver of Secrets. You got it. Should we draw? See if it changes anything. Engineered Explosives. Don't hate that one. Let's crop rotate this Taiga away. See if our opponent wants to interact with it. We just follow up with Loam. Maybe this is slightly greedy. We're going to see a Brainstorm looking for action. We are going to see a Brainstorm looking for action. We know they've brought in a Force of Negation. They're unlikely to have more than 2 in their whole 75. So the odds of them having a counterspell that's really bad news for our Loam is quite low. As a Force, this is going to put them down to 1 card in hand. Sure. Play this and we just loan back these lands. If they have Daze and top card of their library is Wasteland here, they can get us. Alright, they have the Daze. Don't do it to my opponent. Price of Progress. Good to know about. So we have powered information here. We get our Life from Loam going. Our opponent spent quite a lot of resources to get to this point, and now we can just use our engine to get back in this game, as long as we don't get ourselves dead to Price of Progress. Okay, let's get Wasteland, Wasteland, Taiga. I'll play the Taiga, and I'll deploy an Engineering Explosives. Maybe we're supposed to Wasteland so they can't Murktide Regent this turn, but I would like to get this removal spell in when we know it's going to work. Or I'm just firing that off straight away for 4 damage. Okay, you got it, boss. What is the one card on top of their library now? If it's not Murktide, then we're good. If it's Murktide, things can get real awkward here. It's not Murktide, they're putting red mana over there. Is it Corey Steelcutter? Meltdown. Okay. So we have 4 cards that we can draw to that kill this, and we have a bunch of lands that can interact with it. Not actually as many as you would think, though. I think I'm going to not dredge. Otawara, that can get there in a couple of turns. Our opponent's very much like, Jesus, take the wheel over there now. How... So we've got, what, 3 red cards we can draw, and 1 crop rotation, and then the lands that we want, which is 2 lands, potentially 3, 4, 5 lands. Just trying to work out if we're better to dredge Life from Loam or not. I think we do dredge. Okay, stage, Wasteland, Tropical Island. I'll put out a stage this turn. We have the option of Otawara-ing their creature, which isn't great, but it's a thing we're allowed to do. And if it keeps us alive, we probably have to do that. 4 life is so little. I don't think we dredge this turn. Pyroblast. That's a good one, isn't it? I guess we do it on our opponent's turn, just to dodge Force of Negation specifically. Get out of here and set Elaboration. Step 1 achieved. I'm going to make our Thespian stage into a blue source. Now I guess we dredge Life from Loam. We're just looking for Marit Lage, I guess. Not a Marit Lage. We do have another Life from Loam in there. We could cast it. There's no reason not to, right? Let's just draw this card back. And we'll play out our Wasteland so that we can Wasteland ourselves if there's a big Price of Progress coming. We can get rid of both of our non-basics with this current setup we have. Oh, sorry, all 4 of our non-basics. So Price of Progress will deal 0 damage to us. No Dark Depths. There is an Urza Saga, though. I'm interested in that one. I do wish we had access to a Shadow Spear, though. That would make me feel much more comfortable in this matchup. So we're just going to grind a couple of constructs out. Price of Progress puts us to 2. So if they go Red Source Bolt, Red Source, Price of Progress, we're dead. Or Red Source Bolt is also dead. But they only get to use each Red Source once. There is a Wasteland. He's going to take out my Saga. I guess I'll dredge. Hit the Dark Depths. That's some cash money right there. Let's get these cards back. I like having the win condition here. We are quite exposed to Price of Progress specifically. They've already played 1. I can't imagine them having more than 2 in their deck. Ponder is good. There is a red source. So we can just force the action by wastelanding their wasteland and then making a 2020, which I think is probably our line here. They are cracking the Misty Rainforest. We're going to get popped Price of Progress. So this and this. All right, well, we just go through the motions, won't we? Let's make this into a thing. Keep this one. And then we wasteland one of our lands, and then we take exactly lethal here. Oh, didn't quite get where we needed to go. Our opponent drawing their second copy of Price of Progress was pretty frustrating for us. And whilst lands is favoured in this matchup, you have seen how it can go the other way. I also think our list, because we're doing a bit of a weird sort of fun list where we've got, you know, brainstorms and stuff instead of the malevolent rumbles and things you actually want, it means we are a little bit weaker than a regular lands deck. 4 rounds down, we are, what, 2-2? So positive record on the line. Let's get to it. We're on the play. What does our hand do? Nothing. Let's mulligan. This has an engine in Life of the Loam, but again, we're in one of those spots where the Life of the Loam is going to have to spend a few turns dredging to find us something. By not having Malevolent Rumble in our deck, it's just an easy way of digging. It is costing us a lot, it feels. I'll keep this. We'll probably get rid of Bojuka Bog. I think I'd rather fetch off of a crop rotation. I guess I'll put out my red source in case there's a creature we need to lightning bolt. Maybe there's a Doomsday Pile on turn 1 that isn't the full Doomsday Pile. We can bolt the Thassal's Oracle and not die. Prismatic Vista. Are we in for a long one again? I'm exhausted at this point. Okay, here's a Tamier. I'm probably going to bolt this around a daze on our turn, I think. Scalding Tarn. Just for an island. And another Tamier. You're going to Brainstorm as well? They are. We do not have the Blast Zone in our deck. I think we're just going to straight up lose to this. We need to find our Otawara and relatively sharpish. Okay, Mox Diamond is reasonable here. Bin this off. And then we can Brainstorm. These cards don't actually help us here. These two. I could crop rotate right now. I think I'm going to do that. Shuffle. Doesn't look like the wastelands are going to be very helpful. So now we can go and get... Do we have enough time if we get Saga? So next time we make a construct. So they go up to 6 on the next turn. And they go up to 8. And we attack him with a little guy who's only going to be small in size. I guess that's still the best thing we can do here, isn't it? Play this one out. Crack this. We'll get a tropical island, I think. Let's make it easier to cast an Otawara if we find one, because that's how they're out here. Okay, our deck doesn't really have enough answers to a Tamiyo. If we'd have had a Blast Zone, we could have crop rotated for a Blast Zone, and then we could at least check the Tamiyo. I'm going to play a creature that can block. A Thunder Trap Trainer. That blocks. I think we're playing against, like, Jeskai Wizards. There is a Teferi. We're not going to be able to get through our opponent's defenses here. Prismatic Ending on that is reasonable. We're just looking for Otawara now. Didn't find the Otawara. If we make a guy with this, we make a second guy, they both attack in, they maybe end up big enough. I play the Dark Depths, we have a different out of Thespian Stage, Hasty 2020, maybe win the game. Okay, I'll play it. I think we're going to lose this one, because Tamiyo's a messed up card. Tamiyo is big. They're going to play the Teferi, or they've got other options. We might be able to attack with 2 creatures, so any removal spell, we lose the game. I don't think we're going to beat them if they draw half their deck here. I certainly don't want to play. Okay, so another blocker. Does that stop us having any recourse at all? Maybe it does. I guess we could draw the Lightning Bolt. We've got a 1-1, a powerful 1-1. That doesn't help us out here. Making a guy. We attack with both things. I guess we get the Pithing Needle. That's our out here. But the problem is, they Teferi, they bounce it. Then they just get to draw half their deck. Why don't we have Blast Zone in our deck? Do people just forget about Blast Zone? Oh, I love that card. Okay, so they're fetching in response to the Pithing Needle. Opponent, I don't think I'm Pithing Needling your fetch land. So Lavaspur Boots doesn't help here. Pithing Needle is a very easy line for our opponent to see through and beat. Okay, I'm just going to get the Pithing Needle. Tamiyo, Seasoned Scholar. So attacks. Maybe they forget that they're just going to bounce it next turn anyway, and they let us. They should just block with their Tamiyo, but we got to at least try something here, because we are just losing to their 2-card I win the game combo. Yeah, I don't want to play that anymore. Let's just go. They're going to draw half the deck. Disgusting. At least we get Pyroblast now. Pyroblast in. Disruptor Flutes seem really bad here. Our opponent's got 4 main deck I blow up your artifact cards. That doesn't seem great for us. I think this is looking like a big Soul Guide Lantern matchup. Let's take our Gemstone Caverns. So we could just run it like this, or we could try and add in some Spell Pierces to deal with some of their scarier top end stuff, but that doesn't feel where I want to be, to be honest. The Disruptor Flutes are pretty bad because they just blow them up. Maybe I'll take 1 over a Mox Diamond. Okay, I can keep this one. We can go do some Urza Saga gaming pretty early doors. Maybe get enough power in play so that we don't care about them flipping a Tamiyo because we can actually pressure it. Exploration. This might be worth a counterspell from our opponent if they have one. They agree. We got a Brainstorm, so maybe that makes a Tamiyo harder to flip, or maybe they got multiple Brainstorms. Again, I don't think we're that concerned with a decent chunk of stuff in the deck, but Tamiyo is just so terrifying because it's difficult for us to... Oh, Karakas. Get out of here. But now we play this little game of, do we bounce it now, let them and make it so they might be able to just planeswalk if they have a Brainstorm, or do we hold it and just let them accrue loads of clues? I think we just have to say, let's hope you don't have a Brainstorm. I think that's the correct way of playing this. But, okay, they just had Tamiyo double Brainstorm. Who needs Splinter Twin when you can just have Splinter Twin with 2 1-mana cards, right? What a world. We are so far behind now. Okay, we drew a useful card. I will take that. Am I playing around Force of Negation? No, I don't want them to just have more cantrips. I've already had Brainstorm, Brainstorm, Force of Will, Brainstorm. Brainstorm, Brainstorm, Force of Will. Come on. Okay, it worked. Hallelujah. And now we just get to grind some Saga value. Play another Saga. Out some booties. We don't get to equip them this turn. We're going to get less constructs out of our Saga, but we're going to be able to attack quicker, I think is worth it. If we draw a land, we still can't get our constructs going off the second Saga. Maybe it was wrong to play out the second one we did. But I think getting in underneath our opponent before they set up is a big deal here. They did a little bit of manipulating with Brainstorms and that was their turn. Or are we doing something in the second main phase? Oh, Tamiyo, go away. I've had enough of you for one day. For one lifetime, more like. Alright. I'm going to make a guy. They can Brainstorm a response, but that doesn't matter. Tabernacle. Don't really like the Tabernacle here. I'm going to get a Mox Diamond, I think. Just Tabernacle. Equip this guy. A swords, 2 plowshares. Let's bounce this. If they want to flip it now, we can just attack it with our guy. Just let this go, I imagine, and take 3. Brainstorms. They could have Tamiyo Brainstormed right now, and they chose not to. We do have a lot of power that can attack Tamiyo. That suggests that removal is the thing that's missing from their hand. Because if they had removal, they could just do this, have the Tamiyo remove one of the guys. Maybe the Tamiyo lives, then find removal the next turn. Alright. I think we're probably looking at crop rotating away this as a Saga in a second as well. My card was going away anyway, so this would be a 1-for-1 trade. I think I just want more as a Sagas, please. We can go and get this expedition map. Plug this one out. Can equip this to the sleepy guy. Wake him up a bit. Bash in for hopefully 10. Dress down. Ugh. Dress down is so good. Alright, opponent. Here's the Tamiyo. Are we brainstorming? You got a third brainstorm? Or is that that'd be the 4th brainstorm, wouldn't it? No, they've used all 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So there's no more brainstorms left in their deck. But they do have Flame of Anor. And they're blowing my stuff up. Could you just not, opponent? Oh dear, oh dear. We do have a hasty construct, so we will be able to apply some pressure. But our opponent might be able to put some stuff in the way of it. Like a Thunder Trap Trainer here. Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. Could you not, opponent? There is a Ponder. Brainstorm. I don't mind having this Life from the Loam. What are we doing? Boseiju stuff, aren't we? Let's get back a couple of Sagas. Real good target for a Force of Negation. They didn't have it, thankfully. Get this Saga in. We can at least force them to lose their Thunder Trap Trainer here. I hate that we have to focus on Tamiyo so much. So now they can just go and get back one of their things if they want, or they can just keep ticking upstairs. I think I would rather they tick upstairs and get back like a Plow or a Flame of Anor. Those feel devastating to us. Flame of Anor can, if they have a wizard, can just kill 2 of our constructs in one go. Going upstairs with the Tamiyo. 4 Theolingus, you say, for 2. Are these... Okay, we're doing Sword and Shield here. We do get to attack the Tamiyo for a bunch. But, like, do we care about that? I guess we have to care about it. But then we're just going to be shredding card disadvantage to the Monarch, while our opponent just gains a bunch of cards and we're just lagging behind. Yikes. We know we don't like the cards on top of our library, right? It's just Boseiju. So I think we just stretch this. There's an Otawara there. Let's make a construct. They're fetching around Pithing Needle here. Get the Pithing Needle for the Tamiyo, maybe just go at their face. Maybe that's how we actually win this game. I can see that. Play another Urza Saga out. Equip the booty to the sleepy guy. If they plow here, it stays on that guy anyway. Are you going to dress down again? Oh. Alright, we're going to brainstorm looking for Pyroblast here. We didn't find it. Oh, this game. We've already got a Life of Loam, so we don't need this, we don't need this. We can bounce this with an Otawara next turn if we need to. Oh, I really hate that turn for us. So much. No point brainstorming here. Life from the Loam. Oh, no, we put back our Life from the Loam. Whoops. We had a Life from the Loam in the graveyard. There is a Ponder. Yeah, we should have just put back a land instead of that Loam. That was real bad. What is this going to find them? Flame of Anor, probably. Blow up our Pithing Needle. Yep. It's good. So now Tamiyo ticks up. They have half their deck ready to draw next turn. I think we have to brainstorm end step because of the mistake I made. Putting the Loam back. So it puts back a couple of lands. Do I want to create a guy here? I don't think we have the ability to do that this turn. I think we need to go and get back our Otawara. Mox Diamond. Spin off a land. This learns how to do stuff. Crop rotate back. Otawara, Saga. If they counterspell this, we can't deal with the Tamiyo this turn. What are they targeting? Urza's Saga. That's not very good when we still have one in play. We can still get to loot that one. They're going to 6 as well. It's a shame we can't punish that. Okay, so we get back the Otawara. If we play a land, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4 mana for Otawara. So we don't get a choice here. We just have to do that. and move on with life. Does that mean I want to get a Dark Depths down? Gives us a reasonable way of trying to clock our opponent next turn. 1-2, we make a guy. 1-2, we don't get to Otawara. Problem is, we're still losing to everything else our opponent has, even if we do this Otawara. Okay, opponent. Don't kill me, please. There is a Tamiyo. We don't get to bounce this until they put the thing on the stack that draws them the additional cards. It's fine, though. I guess. Flame of Anor. Now we don't have the out of Hasty Maritlage. We should have waited for the thing to go on the stack, but maybe they draw more lands. More interaction. I don't think they're going to have a Stifle, but no, I think what we did was fine. Wrath of the Skies. That cleans up a bunch of our permanents, doesn't it? It's going to kill their human knight tokens, so they want to do this post-combat, ideally. Or not, I guess. They're so far ahead, they don't need to play optimally, to be honest. And we've certainly not played optimally this league. This game has been horrible. See why not many people are playing lands at the moment. It just feels horrible playing into Tamiyo. Why are people not playing more Blast Stones? Let's get this as a Saga back. Let's get this Thespian stage. There's Otawara to cover the next problem that arises. The old Force of Negation. Perfect answer. I am not having fun, chat. We are very sad. And now as a Snapcaster Mage, are they going to Surgical Summon? Or are we just going to... Okay, we're going to 4th your Lingus for a bunch of guys. They can add 4 power, 4 lots of guys. How much mana are they going to keep up? What do they need to cast? We're going big, but just leaving up a Source of Plowshares by the looks of things. Yeah, they already have the Monarchs. This is just trying to get the game won. I can appreciate, to be honest, because this has felt like a very long league. So our opponent killing us would be nice. Put us out of our misery. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So we're not quite dead on the next turn. But what are we supposed to do about this? I think we're supposed to scoop and move on with our life. Well, that was pretty horrible. We finished with a 2 and 3 record. We got smashed up by some control there. I did not enjoy playing against those control decks. Just felt very difficult to get through some of the things they were doing. Now, one of them, I think that was the Beanstalk control deck. That one was really awkward because in game 1, we just couldn't string anything together and punish our opponent's bad keep. And then we ended up losing. That was really frustrating. I think that one could have been a win for us, maybe. So let's look at this list. Obviously, this is more of a fun list than a highly competitive one. I think if you're trying to be highly competitive, you're just playing Malevolent Rumble. So you're not playing this stuff. Like Malevolent Rumble, it digs you 4 cards deep. But not only does it find you like the land you might be looking for, it can find you the exploration you need to make your hand really pop off. Or it can find you, your hate pieces or like your clutch Lavaspur Boots that you're looking for. It also then puts the Life from the Loam into the graveyard. It's just so much better than a Brainstorm and makes our mana better. Now, the Spell Pierces, they would have looked good if we were playing against a bunch of show and tell decks and stuff, but that's not what happened. So it didn't really feel worth it to me. This list desperately needs a Blast Zone. I would be very happy to get rid of this Gemstone Caverns and replace it with a Blast Zone. I think this card is bad, and I don't like it in decks, generally speaking. A Blast Zone, when Tamiyo is like one of the very best things in the format, it feels like the entire format is based around Tamiyo, right? So like the best decks are decks that can ignore Tamiyo at the moment. So like Omni-tell, Doomsday, which actually plays Tamiyo, and Omni-tell sometimes plays Tamiyo as well, and Turbo Reanimator. These are putting up some of the best numbers. So I think you need to be able to beat Tamiyo. And for our deck, I don't think we can reliably beat Tamiyo, which is a problem. Now, sure, we can grind some people down and bits and pieces like that, but eventually they're going to be able to just pop off with their Tamiyo, and then we're kind of dead. In a world without Tamiyo, I really like lands in this format. I just think Tamiyo is a really frustrating one for us to get through sometimes. Anything else to say about this one? I think the Blast Zone obviously would help, and just I don't think this is the build you want to be playing. I think if you want to be playing something that's like 80% regular lands, just play regular lands. I don't think you need to be doing some of these cute things that aren't necessarily changing things up. Like I have a mono green list I didn't get a chance to play for December that I might play in a couple of weeks or whatever, that is similar to lands but it's doing a few other things differently. So it's leaning slightly more towards turboing and has an aggro backup plan that you can run, which is obviously quite different to what this deck is doing. This deck doesn't really have any sort of pivot plan, it just tries to do its thing. So it's not an improvement over regular lands, it's just a straight up downgrade in my opinion. But we had some fun games here and there and we did some cool stuff. And I am exhausted after this. This is the 10th round of Legacy I've recorded today. So my brain is shot and I'm done. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe for all the content coming in the new year. And goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.